So this is the video mainly focusing on the transesophageal echo, that too mid-esophageal views, different views in mid-esophageal uh, level. Mid-esophageal level consisting of multiple views. One among that is a 5-chamber view. 5-chamber view at 0 degree at the level of A1 and P1 scallops. So 5-chamber wherein the aortic valve is visible. That is, aortic valve is visible. Aortic valve, these are NCC, RCC and LCC cusps of aortic valve. This is the cross section, that is a 0 degrees 5-chamber view. This is the left atrial appendage on the lateral aspect, and this posterior medial commissure, this anterolateral commissure. These are the anterior segments of the mitral valve, and these are the posterior mitral valve segments. This is the transesophageal echo image, wherein we can see the aortic valve, left ventricle, A1 and P1 segments, which is more pronounced in the 5-chamber view. This is the one more mid-esophageal view, wherein we can see the 4-chamber view at 0 degree, where we can see A2 P2 scallops of the mitral valve, where LVOT is visible. So left ventricle outflow tract is visible. So this is the angle, that is 0 degree on advancement. This is 4-chamber. On advancement, the probe little further to mid-esophageal level, that is at around 30 centimeter from the incisor teeth. So these are the A2 P2 scallops seen more pronounced in the 4-chamber view, where LVOT is present. In the mid-esophageal 4-chamber view, where we can't see the aortic valve and LVOT, at that level we can see the A3 P3 level, P3 segments of the mitral valve more clearly. So this is the 4-chamber view, little more advancement in the esophagus. You can see A3 P3 segments of the mitral leaflet. This is the mid-esophageal level at bicommissural view, that is at 60 degrees on tilting the plane of the transesophageal echo. We can see the P3, A2 and P1 scallops of the mitral valve, wherein A2 will be in the middle, that is sandwiched between the P1 and P3 segment of the mitral valve. So this is the A2, which is the sandwich between the P1 and P3 segments. P3 is very close to the circumflex artery, and P1 is more close to the left atrial appendage. One more mid-esophageal view, that is 2-chamber view at 90 degrees, wherein we can see all the 3 segments of the anterior mitral leaflet with a part of the posterior mitral leaflet, that is P3. This is the angle, that is 90 degree, wherein we can see the 3 segments of the anterior mitral leaflet with a part of posterior mitral leaflet at around 90 degrees. So this is A3, A2 and A1 from the coaptation site to the annulus, and P3, which is always close to the circumflex artery, coronary sinus. This is one more mid-esophageal view, that is a long axis view, that is at 135 degrees, wherein we can see the A2 P2 segment of the mitral leaflet, which is also seen in the LVOT region, that is 4-chamber view, 4-chamber mid-esophageal views. To memorize or to simplify, mid-esophageal level, we have 0 degrees, 60 degrees, 90 degrees and 135 degrees. 135 degrees. In 0 degree, we have 4 chamber and 5 chamber views. 4 chamber, we can appreciate the A to P2 segment, while in 5 chamber, we can appreciate the A1 P1 segment of the mitral valve. While in 60 degrees, that is a bicommissurial view. In that, we can appreciate the A2 segment of the anterior mitral leaflet sandwiched between the P3 and the P2 segments of posterior mitral leaflet. 90 degree mid-esophageal view, that is also called as a 2 chamber view, wherein we can see all the segments of the anterior mitral leaflet with a part of P3 of posterior mitral leaflet. At 135 degrees, that is also called as a long axis view, we can see the A2 segment of anterior mitral leaflet and the P2 segment of PML. In short, to memorize, LVOT view, that is in the 4 chamber, wherein LVOT is seen, T, so 2, that is A2, P2 are seen. While in 90 degree aortic valve is seen, that is 5 chamber view, A, that is the first letter, so it is A1 and P1. Okay. At around 90 degrees, 2 chamber view, 90, that is all A segment anterior leaflets are seen with part of P3. 60 degrees, that is bicommissurial view, wherein A2, which is sandwiched between P1 and P3, and 135 degrees, that is long axis, where we can see A2 and P2 segments of mitral leaflets. Now this was the theory part. We'll go to a simulation application where we can see this more clearly with the 3-dimensional visualization. So let us focus on the simulation. This is the transesophageal probe, and these are the rays originating from the transesophageal echo probe. This is the esophagus, which is opacifying, in which the echo probe is there. This is the arch of aorta with descending thoracic aorta. Yeah, this is descending thoracic aorta, and this was the pulmonary artery, LPA and the RPA branches. This is SVC, this is IVC, and the pulmonary veins draining into the left atrium. Okay, now since the rays passes from the probe distally, the structures which is close to the probe is appeared in the top of the image in the echo machine. Now once we advance further in the esophagus, we can see the left common carotid, right common carotid, and the left subclavian artery. Once we advance further, this is the arch of aorta, which is also more clearly seen in the 3D image. This is the arch of aorta. Yeah. Further advancing the probe, this is the ascending aorta, and this is the descending thoracic aorta. Further advancing, this is the pulmonary valve, which we can see, and the main pulmonary artery. This is the LPA, which we can see. This is the LPA. Yeah, this is the LPA, the pulmonary valve, and the main pulmonary artery. Further advancing, you can see the pulmonary artery and the RPA. Yes. Further advancing, let's focus on the mid-esophageal views in this video. advancing, we can see the aortic valve here. This is the aortic valve, this is the left ventricle, left atrium, and this is the mitral valve. This is the RV RA. So it is a 5-chamber view. Furthermore, clearly we can see the aortic valve, LV, LA, RA, RV, that is 5-chamber view, wherein we can see the A1 and P1 segment. So this is the posterior mitral leaflet and anterior mitral leaflet. So A1 segment and P1 segment of the mitral leaflet is more commonly well defined in 5-chamber view. Further advancing, wherein we can get the mitral leaflets AML and PML at the LVOT level. So that is A2 segment of the AML and P2 segment of PML, well defined in the 4th chamber where LVOT is there in the T. Coming into proper 4-chamber view, we can see the LV, LA, RA, RV. This is the tricuspid leaflet, and this is the AML, that is A2 segment of the anterior mitral leaflet, and this is P2 segment of posterior mitral leaflet. So this is a proper 4-chamber view where we can see A2 P2 segment of the mitral leaflets. Now increasing the angle at mid-esophagus to around 60 degrees, we get the bicommissural view. Yes. So increasing the angle means increasing the angle in this way. So it was 0 earlier. Yes, you can see it was 0, which was showing the proper 4-chamber view. Now I have increased the angle at the mid-esophagus level to 60 degrees. That will give us a bicommissural view. Now little increasing the zoom at that level, we can appreciate the bicommissural view. So this is the anterolateral commissure, this is posterior medial commissure. To focus these two commissures, we have to still further increase the angle, that is at 60 degrees. So increase the angle and little bit of fine adjustment will give us the bicommissural view. So this is the left atrial appendage, left atrium, left ventricle, and bicommissural view, that is the in between part is the A2 segment of the AML, and the one which is close to the septum, is the P1, and one towards the LA, that is lateral aspect, is the P1. So A2 sandwiched between P1 and P3. This is called bicommissural view. Yes. Now we are clear with the 3D image. Now further increasing the angle to around 90 degrees, we get the 2-chamber view. Yes. Now we'll just tilt the image like this, wherein we can see only the 2 chambers. Yeah. So increasing the angle to 90 degrees, we can see the 2-chamber view. Yes, that is convinced. In 2-chamber, the mitral valve, the AML is completely seen. So this is the anterior mitral leaflet, and this is the P3 segment of the posterior mitral leaflet. So little fine adjustment which is required. Yes, this fine adjustment wherein we can change the plane. So this whole thing is in anterior mitral leaflet with A3, A2 and A1 segments of the AML and a part of PML, that is P3 segment, at 90 degrees mid-esophageal view. Now further increasing the angle at around 135 degrees, Let us tilt the image like this. This is the view which shows us that LA, LV, and we have to see the LVOT with the aortic valve. That is a long axis. So let us increase the angle to 130-35, wherein we can see the aortic valve LVOT. So somewhere around 130-35. Yeah, 135 with fine adjustments. Yeah, this was the fine adjustment made, wherein we can see the, yes, in this image we can see the posterior mitral leaflet and the anterior mitral leaflet. That is, this is the posterior mitral, anterior mitral, LA, LV, LVOT, aortic valve, and ascending aorta. So this was the P2 segment and A2 segment of the mitral leaflets, very well defined. These are the particular angles at which we can see a specific segments of the mitral leaflet with little fine adjustments. So coming now, reversing the whole process, that is, this is the long axis wherein we can see the A2 and P2 segments of the mitral leaflet. Now let us reduce this angle, coming to 90 degrees, wherein we can see the whole of anterior mitral leaflet, anterior mitral leaflet. Yes, let us zoom it. Yes, we can see that is at the 90 degrees with a little finer adjustments. That is whole of anterior mitral leaflet and P3 segment of PML at 90 degrees. Yes, little convincing. Yes, little zoom, better. Yeah, so all of anterior mitral leaflet and part of posterior mitral, that is P3 segment. Now little further decreasing the angle at around 60 degrees. Yes, that is by commissure view, somewhere around 60 to 66, 65, 66 with fine little adjustments. Yeah, this was the A2 segment sandwiched between the P3 and P1 segment. The one towards the LA appendage, that is the P1 segment, and P3, that is towards the septum. Yeah, so this was the 60 to 66 degrees angulation at mid-esophageal level. Now further decreasing the angle, that is coming to the 4-chamber view, from where we saw all the, yeah, let us zoom out it, reducing the angle to get the proper 4-chamber view, where we can see the A2 and P2 segments of the mitral leaflet properly. Yeah, this was the proper little bit. Yeah, so this was the A2 P2 segment of the leaflets, mitral leaflets. Now let us withdraw the probe. This is at the 5-chamber view, where we can see the A1 and P1 segments of the mitral leaflet. So this was the aortic leaflets and the aortic valve. Further withdrawing, we can see this. This was the pulmonary valve and the MPA. This was the left main pulmonary artery, pulmonary valve, RVOT, and the LPA, left pulmonary artery and right pulmonary artery. Yeah. Further withdrawing, we can see the arch of aorta, this arch of aorta, and the major branches of aorta. Yeah. So this was to mainly focus on the mid-esophageal and the different segments of the mitral valve at the mid-esophageal level. Thank you. This is the esophagus. Yeah.